I feel like I'm really at the beginning of a journey with environmental photography, and this summer I went to South Africa, and that's where the pictures are from that I took and that are in the exhibit. And actually being there, I went there to learn about environmental injustices and what people were doing on a very grassroots level. I went with a group called Global Green Grants, which is right here in Boulder. And through photography, I could, share the stories of some of these people that I met. And the 3 pictures that are in the show, 2 of them are in South Durban. And both of those from South Durban, I was standing on top of a huge sand dune and looking out at a huge industrial area that runs along the coast there. And so I think that, having that viewpoint from being up high, and then I saw looking down from there these kids standing in this water that was completely polluted. If you would look upstream from where these kids were standing, there is one of South Africa's largest oil refineries called Sapref, which is a joint venture between Shell and BP. And so there's runoff coming from that factory from the Mondi paper mill. There is the engine factory, which is an old ExxonMobil factory. They, in the wet season, their runoff goes into the same canal where these kids are standing. Up further from there is a township that doesn't have any pipe sanitation. So that's all coming down to this point and then out into the ocean. Where the waters meet says to me that we're not looking out for the next generation. Here's these young men standing in pollution, and we haven't done enough. The sand dune that I was standing on, it used to actually connect across. That the canal where the boys are is a man-made canal. So that was in the 1950s, that was cut to create land for industry and for an airport. So there were wetlands there that were, dredged and filled. Really an amazing place to be, to see this pollution running out to the ocean. And at the same time, we saw a whale out in the ocean, taking in the beauty of the coast and then the heavy industry, and asking myself, which way are we going to go? What's happening and how did we get here? We were with Global Green Grants, and so we were going there meeting with the grantees. Global Green Grants supports very small grassroots groups who are doing things locally for the environment. And so we were with a group in South Durban, the South Durban Community Environmental Alliance, SCDEA. And, they're the only group in South Durban that is working on these issues of air pollution, water pollution that's being caused by this heavy industrial area. And they were really showing me their town and what the people there are living with. In that location at the Umlas Canal, where those boys are standing, there has been chrome found in that water at certain times. There's also a Bayer factory up there. It's hard to describe the intensity of how much industry is in this one area. And that was the same up in Sasolburg and the Vaal Triangle. There's so much industry. So in the water, I would say that it's oftentimes not tested. The local community is testing it. at times, and so it's hard to know if there's always pollutants or it's sometimes free of them. Well, I don't know why it's black exactly. I just know that when it's been tested, these are the things found in it. At one point in the mid-1990s, that spot had the highest level of E. coli in all of South Africa. So the communities living in these heavy industrial zones are really harmed on a daily basis, their health as well as the earth. These things are happening all around the world. So, learning specifically about one place also translates into understanding what's going on globally for communities living near industry. I would say that when I was there, I was so touched, not even touched, I was just overwhelmed with the openness and towards me, that the people there were so receptive and thankful that, I had come, and I brought my family too, to see what was going on. Just that alone is sort of a bearing witness process of seeing, going in and getting closer to these things and what is going on, smelling the air, feeling your throat burn, feeling your eyes burn. And I feel like a little bit of my heart was kind of left there, actually. And when I got home, I felt like, yeah, I give money, I support in that way, but I also have another medium, which is my photography, and I have something to say through it. This exhibition is an amazing opportunity to share as a photographer what you see when you do go into places. I ask myself what will change because of my photography, and I know that I have changed by sharing my view and taking that a little bit of a leap. I hope that the people I visited with and the people that live in places like this and are really bearing the brunt of the industrial world will feel caring from me, will feel acknowledged, seen, not invisible, not forgotten. I hope that these pictures make a difference and that I can take more that will. I think otherwise I wouldn't do it. I think that really going and, meeting with people that live there and are working in communities and going with them to see an area. So you're talking, you're taking pictures, but there's a lot of communication, sharing, and just listening. I think that for me personally, that's the way that I like to go to take pictures, because that way I don't feel like I'm taking something from them. I feel like I'm going in to learn, see what I can offer, and see if there's a way for me to give back through the photos. As a global citizen, as a person of the world, I feel that completely connected to the pollution that's going on in South Africa. That was very clear to me when I was there, that there isn't a separation at all between any of us. I would like to continue looking at communities that are living near industry around the world. And I would like to learn more, use my photography, but also, educate myself, or a growing understanding of, situations that have been here for so long, for so many years, that people have been living with, and that I'm just starting to explore.